In today's video, I'm going to show you how to create this design, and we're gonna embroider it using glow-in-the-dark thread. Let's get started. Welcome back, Legacy family. It's time to doodle again, and if this is your first time, welcome. My name is Ken, and I'm here to teach you all about embroidery and digitizing. This is the Design Doodler, and it's for iPad. This is an iPad companion, and the Design Doodler is available for PC, but it does have an iPad companion. We'll leave the link of the trial in the description. Let's open up our fairy design by clicking this button right here. I'm going to select my photo library, and here is the design. We're gonna click done to open it up. The first thing that I'm gonna do is enable my hoop size, and right here I'm going to click this tool so that I can resize my image. Currently I can't see the hoop size, so I'm gonna go under my properties, and under the opacity I'm going to turn it down to about 30%. That way I can see my hoop. You can see that's a 4x4 inch hoop, and you can change it in your settings, but I really do enjoy working with 4x4 inch hoops, so I'm just gonna set it to around that. This design now looks like it's gonna be around 3.8 inches, so I think that's a pretty good size. I don't need to play around with it anymore. I'm gonna click 1:1, and we got a pretty decent size. For this design, we're gonna use a couple tools. We're gonna use the run stitch for all of these tiny details around the fairy. We're gonna be using the fill tool, but surprisingly, we're gonna use the fill tool as a satin so that we can create these awesome shapes, as well as this one. And the last thing, we're gonna use the satin or the steel tool with a circle to create the border around. Okay, so I'm gonna click 1/3 right here, and I'm gonna move my hand around this area. Now my goal with this design is to do it in the way of red work. That means that I wanna do 2 passes. So for example, let me just switch out the color to red so it's easier for you to see. If I am creating, let's say, her arm right here, if I do 1 path, then I wanna make sure that I return twice, and that, well, let me just make sure I clean it up. Then I want to make sure that this stitch right here that I just created has 2 paths, because if I only create 1, then it doesn't look so nice. If I do 2, then this looks really solid on your stitches. So we're going to try to create this effect throughout this whole stitch design, and our goal is to avoid jumping and connect it all. So if you haven't been practicing your connections, this is a great design for you to practice with. I'm going to grab and delete everything, and we can get started with a section of this design. I am going to start in this area right here, and I'm going to show you an example. So we're going to select the run tool, and we can start here. Maybe I'm just going to switch it to a smaller stitch spacing, and I'm going to go around, finish here. You can see that as soon as I click with my pen on top of it, there's a red dot that appears, which means that I can continue creating under that same thread. So if I go to my sequence view, you'll see that it's one shape. I can put that there for now, and I can move around here. Let me move this part over here so we can continue doing that and ensure that we do not create any extra stitches. So I'm going to go to the next one. Perfect. I can return, and I can go this way and return. So far I have 2 paths everywhere, and my goal is to do that throughout the whole design. Going down this way. Now, I really like that I can see my commands, and if you don't see the scissors on your own design, then what you can do is go under your settings or press the 3 buttons at the bottom, and it should say view commands. You enable that. I love that I can see the scissors right there because it tells me that I'm doing a good job, and this is where the stop is for this design. So let's continue. Just create a couple of these little knickknacks. Perfect, and I'm going to return from that same path. Let's create that next one right here. It's okay if I'm overlapping a couple of them. Don't worry too much if it's not perfect, because you have to remember that we're working at scale, which when we zoom out, you're not going to see all of these tiny details. So I'm not really worried about getting everything perfect. I'm going to move down this way, and I'm just going to continue creating all of these details like so. That and return all the way. Perfect. I'm probably going to turn these 2 shapes into one satin outline just because I think this one's a little too thin, and it'll just look cleaner with one outline instead. But it's great because it allows me to path my design around And that's the goal. See, right here there was a little space, but it's so small, doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna take advantage of it and create my pathing through that. Awesome, like that. It's okay to overlap. I think I messed up a little bit there, so I'm gonna go back and ensure that I'm doing 2 paths. If you get a little confused, sometimes it's just best to let go, do one section, finish that next section, and so on, to not be confused, because I have gotten confused a lot in the past. So I know that right here in this area, I am gonna have to come back down here if I do want to return all the way down there. So in my mind, I already imagined that I'm gonna finish my stitch somewhere around here, and that's where the satin is gonna start. Okay, so let me delete that arrow and let's keep going. Put the sequence view over here. I love that I can have it enabled and that I can put it on the left side. That way it doesn't get in the way. Now I am going to continue pathing through the outside, but this whole shape right here can be taken care of right now. So let's do the inside first. Let's go right here. This shape right here looks like it can be done. So we're going to do that area. Done. These are a lot of details, so I'm just going to do my best to create them, but not worry about them too much. Perfect. Now I finish right there. Let's finish this arm. And look at how fast we just did that area. Let's keep going. And now we've returned to the outside. If I go 1 to 1, you can see that you can't really see the stitch spacings anymore. So like I said, don't worry too much about those. 1/3, let's move on to this area and let's create the rest of it. So I'm gonna go up this way, create that little extra finger. We're only gonna do 1 path now. Why? Because we have the rest of the body to create. Let's go this way. And again, I am gonna use the outside to path it. So I'm probably gonna start working on the inside. And here I'll just create a couple strands of hair to match it as best as possible. Yep. See, you can see that right here I've created my second shape and I want to avoid that, so I'm going to go back until I've deleted that. Perfect. Now can continue creating under that same shape. No mistakes anywhere. Perfect. And I'll finish this here. And that's about good for me. All right, let's go back. I'm already going to create that second shape, so it's all good. Perfect. I'm already doing these 2, so I don't have to think about them. And I'll do this one as well. You know what? I did say I was going to stick to the outside, so I'm going to create this one. Finish this right here. Finish this part right here. Finish that. There we go. Have to stay consistent as best as possible to not get confused with this design. But now we can choose to go up above or we can go down below. I think for now I'm going to choose to continue down below. And these I can already kind of create the doubles. So let's create 1, 2, and let's stop right there. Let's create these right here. 1, 2. Let's do this one. And let's do this one. 1, returning. 2, returning. Go all the way down here. Return. And 1, return. Second one, return. Third one. I'm trying to just kind of replicate the hair, but it's okay if it's a little different. I made another one. I don't want that, so I'm going to return. Perfect. Stick around to 1 shape only. And we can return all the way back. Perfect. Now let's do the other side. I'm going to do that hair right there. Perfect. Go all the way around. Finish it there. 1, 2, and return. Returning. And 4, and I can just go back all the way there in 1 go. Now that we finished that, we can go all the way back. And if you remember your path correctly, then we should have no problem. So I'm just going to do that again because I want to make sure that I did go back correctly. I'm going to stop there. Let me see, where did I not go? And again, if you have trouble at 1/3, let's go over 1/6 and let's zoom in even more. Oh, I went this way. Perfect. So let me move my sequence view. Let's go this way right here. Perfect. I went this way, and then I went this way, and then I go all the way down this way. Look at that. Easy peasy. I'm just going to go back to 1/3 because this part's pretty simple. And I'm going to finish this area right here. Let's go to this side and finish this area right here. Look at that. We are now complete with all our run stitches, and we can continue creating the circle. So what do we do next? I think because I want to hide all of these tiny little stitches with the satin outline, I'm going to create that outline next. So let's get rid of the sequence and let me grab my steel tool. So this is the steel tool right here, and we're going to switch to a circle. I'm going to go to this corner and go and create a circle like that. Now that's a little bit too big, so let's modify that circle by selecting it and making it smaller, centering it as best as possible. Just make it a little bit smaller, somewhere around there. That's perfect. Now you can see there are two scissors right here. There's one this way and one that way. We're going to change that, and to do that we're going to select this button right here so that we can select our start and stop. So I'm going to put my start here, and I'm going to put my stop right there. That way there's only going to be one trim so far on this design. And if we really wanted to, we can put our stop right here for this design so that it doesn't even have to trim anywhere, because then we can start the next shape right here. But I want to leave it super clean, so I'll stop right there. Now before we continue, let me select the circle. So I want to make sure I'm not selecting anything. Let me go to my layers. That's the circle itself. And we're going to go to our stitch width. 2.5 is pretty good, but I'll do 2.8. Density, angle, inset, that's pretty good. What I want to do is let's go under underlays, and let's just create a zigzag underlay so it looks nice and crispy. If I take off the image, this is what the design looks so far. It already looks pretty cool, kind of like a coin, but of course it's missing the stars and the wings. So let's take care of that next. Let's bring back the image and take care of these wings. So I'm going to do 1/3, and we're going to go around this area for the wings. Now these are pretty simple, and again we're going to use our connections to ensure that all of them are connected. What we're going to do is we're going to create a fill stitch, but those fill stitches we're then going to switch them out to a satin. You'll see in the end how we're going to do that. So first let's switch back to our free draw. And what we can do is start creating these areas right here. Now I am going to disable the automatic tie in and out because I don't really want every single shape that I create to have a tie in and out. So just going to create a really quick tie in and out manually right here, so I don't have to worry about that. And now we can create our fill stitch. So let's create this one right here. 1. Let's do the next one. 2. Let's do the next one, 3, 4. We're just going to create all of these shapes. 5. We can even create them as a singular shape. 6, 7, 8. Let's keep going this way. 9, 10, and I want to remember how I'm creating them so that I can set up the proper start and stop and they're not jumping all over the place. Let's create that little wing like that. Perfect. I like that. So then it's the next one. Let's go all the way up there and down. Then the next one all the way up there and down. Then the next one. Let's go this one and this one and this one, and then the last one is just going to be this whole upper part right here. Perfect. So why did I separate all of these just now? The reason I did that is because I want to be able to turn them all into a satin. Now, of course, we created the first one as a run, so I'm just going to select each one of these. Or what we can do too is make sure that we select everything, but we did select the first three, because again, we only created one shape for the run stitch and then the next one for the satin border. So here, I'm going to go under my settings. The density is pretty good, but the fill pattern, we're going to switch to satin. Do we want any underlays? I don't think so. I think this design will look pretty good without the underlays because they're wings after all, so they're meant to be a little lighter. Okay, now if you remember, we started over here, but if you want to confirm, what you can do is deselect, and we can select one. I remember I started here and I went all the way back up and around. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to disable my 3D, and I'm also going to disable my image so that it's easier to see. And using this tool right here, what we're gonna do first, and I mean this tool right here, we're first gonna change the angles of everything. So I'm gonna click the plus or the minus and just start changing the angles of every single one of these. Now, you don't have to do it in any specific order. You can change them all at any order you want, but I just try to remember, and this is going to help me set up the start and stop for the next step. So I'm just changing the order of each one of them. This one, I don't want it to be horizontal. I want any of them to be horizontal, so I'm just kind of setting it up to be like that. Perfect. That's really good. So now what we're going to do is select this tool right beside it so that we can do the start and stop. Start and stop. Perfect. The start is going to be there, which is great, and the stop we're going to set there. Let's grab the third one, start and stop. These are so close to each other that I don't really think it matters that much. But like always, we want to learn how to connect and how to path things properly. So again, I want to make sure I don't skip this one, start and stop. Let's do this one, start and stop over here, start. This one's a big one because it's stopping all the way there. Start and stop, start and stop right here. And then this one, I want it to start over there, stop over here. This one can start and stop here. Start, stop. Super simple. You guys can see this is how fast you can connect things. Once you get a lot of practice, you have nothing to worry about. And then the last one, start, and we're going to make sure it stops all the way up there. And remember that we turned off the auto tie in and out, which means that we have to go under our sequence view. And for the last one, I'm just going to go under the settings and under the commands. Tie off, none. We're going to switch it to basic. That's it. Let's go 1 to 1, see what that looks like. Turn into 3D. That looks very nice. I'm really excited to see how that's gonna look with a glow in the dark. So as you can see, so far we've only made 2 trims. The first one right here after we finish the whole satin border, and the second one from the wings right here. Now the last thing, those are super tiny details which I wanted to save for the end, and those are all the stars. Now we have different ways to create the stars, but I think I want to do them in a mix of satin as well as run stitch. So let me switch to the run stitch right now. I am going to enable back tie in and out really quickly, and I'm going to go over 1 over 3. Let's go to these tiny ones first. Now, these are very small, so I am going to exaggerate them a little bit, and the way I'm going to do it is going to be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's just go to the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know they're kind of touching each other, and there might be a little bit too close, but I'm okay with that because I don't want the machine to be trimming and creating the next one since they're so small. Then the next one, I can make it a little bit smaller, like that. I think it's really nice. Right here, I can tell that the machine is going to choose to jump because there are no scissors. So let's make sure that it does trim by going. I selected it, I'm going to go under properties, and for the end command, I'm going to trim. Now you see those scissors, which means that it's trimming. Next, I'm going to switch to my fill tool right here, and with the fill tool, let's try and create the shape. I'm going to do the top, and then I'm going to do the side, 1 and 2. Now this is looking, I don't know, I would say it's not looking the best, but it's okay. Let's try and experiment a little bit right now. I'm going to select the last 3 shapes right here. And again, I'm going to go under my properties, fill pattern. I'm going to switch it to a satin, of course. Perfect. So now I'm going to change the angle of a couple of these by clicking this tool right here. Let's kind of put them at like a 45-degree angle. Instead of just being horizontal, let's set them up at a 45-degree angle. That looks perfect. And again, you can see that this one is choosing to jump. I do not want that. I want that to trim. So end command is going to be trim for this one as well. So it's going to trim, and which is the last one that I created right here. I believe it was this one. Is it that one right here? Yes, it is. So what we can do is go to the settings, and we're going to set the end command to trim. Perfect. Let's move on to the next one. This is one big star, so I like that. I will create a couple of those. We can also use different tools if you guys want to try out. So if you're playing around with the Design Doodler, I highly suggest you check out these other settings because they're pretty awesome to create these stars. For example, I'm going to use the calligraphy pen, which gives it this awesome effect. You can see this is really cool, so it's creating a star really fast like that. That's an option as well. And then we would join all of them together so there are no jump stitches like that. But because I already kind of committed to that style, I'm going to stick with it. So again, let me create this shape right here. Let's create the next one. And again, I'm not really used to creating stars, so this is going to be really funny to see how it comes out on the embroidery machine. I'm really hoping it looks good. But then again, I love doodling for this reason because nothing has to be perfect. It's all about being creative and having fun. So let's change all the angles to these stars to something like that. Perfect. Play around with them, see how they look at the end. Awesome. That's kind of cool. And then again, I'm going to select the last one, which I edited. I believe it's that one. Always going to make sure by going down to the sequence view. Nope, see, I almost made a mistake by not choosing the right one. So now I can grab this one, and on the end command, I'm just going to switch it to jump, or I mean trim. Trim, not jump. Okay, awesome. Let's go 1/1, and we already have enough stars, so my goal is going to be to copy and paste. I'm going to grab this one out here. Let's disable the 3D so it's easier to see, and we can copy by clicking this button right here, and we can paste. Perfect. Wait, let's make it a little bit bigger, and let's bring it somewhere over here. Looks awesome. Next, let's grab this one. You can just go all the way to the end. Let me see where that one would be. That's the awesome part. We have some figures right here, which allows us to see. So you can tell it's going to be this one, and this one. Perfect. I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste them, and they should go all the way to the bottom. So I can just grab and drop somewhere here. Perfect. Again, I want to copy this one. Copy, paste. Perfect. Let's bring it down here. And then the last one, copy and paste. And bring it down here. And I'm actually going to exaggerate that one a little bit more like it's a taller star. Maybe we'll put it even here. And maybe I'll have a lesson on how to do better stars. They kind of look like just crosses at this point. But it's okay. The last thing we're going to do is just create this ball right here. So that I'm going to go into the fill stitch, and we're going to switch to a circle once again. And we can do 1/3 and create this circle. Now I don't want it to be tatami, which I believe currently is. And if you guys notice, I'm turning this into almost like an oval. And if you guys don't know what push and pull compensation is, I highly suggest you check out our free beginners cheat sheet for digitizing. It's going to show you the reason why there's a lot of push and pull compensation, whereas although this looks like an oval at the moment, once we embroider this shape, it's going to look like a perfect circle. So I'm going to go under here and just change my fill pattern to a satin, and I'll probably add some underlays. Or a perpendicular, a parallel. Perpendicular is pretty good. Switch to 3.4 just to give it a little bit of underlays, but I think it's good like that. And now if I go back 1:1, if I take out the image and I enable the 3D, we can also remove the commands. This is what the design looks like. And now we have one more mission, and that's to embroider it on our machine. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this. It's going to be called Fairy. fairy. Perfect. And I'm gonna press OK. Now I'm gonna open the Files app, and on my locations, I'm gonna select my iPad. Then I'm gonna click under Design Doodler, and now I can see that fairy.jds is available. Now I'm gonna click and hold, and I'm gonna select share so I can send it to myself via Telegram. I can send it to myself as a Gmail, whatever your preference is. Send it to your PC and open it up under Design Doodler for PC and export it to your machine. For me, it's gonna be DST since I have the Tajima Sai, so I'm gonna do that. And now we can put it on the machine and check out the results. And here you go, guys. This is what it looks like. This is the famous glow-in-the-dark thread. You can barely see my hand. It looks really good in person. I gotta say, maybe we need to get a night vision camera or something. It's really hard to capture exactly how it looks like. Glow-in-the-dark does need to be charged by light, which I guess if I were to put it besides a light bulb, it would look a lot better. So let's return to normal light now. And there you go, guys. This is what the design looks like. I am really happy with it. Like I said, the glow in the dark just looks so much nicer in person, and you really gotta get yourself some threads to check it out yourself, especially during the Halloween festivities. It's really nice to have that extra glow effect for your designs. Here's what the design looks like next to the iPad. As you can see, very similar. I'm overjoyed with how fast this stitched out. It is around 4,900 stitches, so super easy, beautiful design. And for those of you who are curious about what thread I used, I got this Madeira thread glow in the dark a really long time ago, and I've been looking for an excuse to use it. So finally we had a chance to test it out, and I'm really happy with its results. I really hope you guys enjoyed learning how to create this fairy star design glow in the dark. If you guys have any questions about any part of this tutorial, please leave them down in the comments. I'm looking forward to reading all of them. I hope you enjoyed this easy tutorial, and I will see you guys on the next design. Check out these videos next, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye, Legacy family. Cheers.